Mario Party isn't typically thought of as a dangerous game and is more oftenly remembered as that game that ends many friendships. But if you were to play in real life, how long would you hypothetically survive? That's what we're going to answer today. In this video, how long could you survive playing Mario Party?
For starters, we'll be applying real world physics, so burning in lava, getting crushed, getting electrocuted, getting stabbed or impaled will most likely kill you. And secondly, the poor people that will be doing this will be doing 50 turns on the board. But without dilly-dallying, let's go on to... There are none. The boards of Mario Party, the most important aspect, and the first one we'll be looking at is DK Jungle Adventure is a pretty simple board. Its setting is a jungle, which are usually dangerous, but we never see the normal jungle dangers like jaguars and Florida men, so we'll assume they're not there. So the only thing that could hurt you is the happening space, which drops a big boulder Indiana Jones style, where it rolls towards you, and if you cannot run it, you'll survive, and that's about it. The farms and money doors are no danger, so as long as you can outrun the boulder, you'll be fine. I'll give it a low chance of death just in case you can't outrun the boulder. Next board up is Peach's Birthday Cake is a board set on a cake. So if it's made of actual cake, you'll probably sink into it, but the character seems to stand on it fine without much problem, so we'll assume it's solid enough to stand on. The more dangerous part is the happening spaces, which if you land on them, you can buy a piranha plant, and then the next person to land on it, if they have a star, the piranha plant will come out and nibble at them essentially. So depending on how the piranha plant bites you, might die of blood loss, but that seems really unlikely, so just give it a low chance of death because it's pretty unlikely you'll die. Next board up is Yoshi's Tropical Island is our first fully survivable board in series. The happening spaces only affect the people who give you the stars. Bowser only puts a tube on you, which don't hurt anyone. The farms only move up and down when you pay the money, and they don't squish you. So unless you wear a goddamn Antarctica expedition suit all the time, or you're Dracula, this board is survivable, like fully. But with that, our next board is Wario's Battle Canyon is basically the exact opposite of Yoshi's Tropical Island. The main way to get around the plateaus is with cannons that shoot you and you land head first into rock. Doesn't even matter what anything else does. Doesn't matter what the happening spaces do. They just switch the rotation of the cannons. It's not like you're gonna see it. You're gonna be dead. Doesn't matter what the Fly Guy does. He just brings you to Bowser and drops you. So you're gonna be breaking your neck with the Fly Guy. And even if all 4 players make it to the end somehow, the loser gets loaded to a cannon and shot off the mountain. So you can't even lose. You will die. So we're going to give this board a death, not an instant death, because you will be able to play it for like 30 seconds. After that bloody mess, the next board is Luigi's Engine Room is a bit of a complicated board, because the main gimmick of the board, the pipes, and also the fences, but let's just ignore those for the moment. Because the pipes take you to another side, we have to assume what they do. But because when we see the characters going down the pipe, it's fairly slow, and when they jump out the other side, it's no injury, and it's also pretty slow. We can just assume that it's a fairly safe process and no one gets hurt. The only happening spaces that would cause a bit of damage is the one in the top left, that steam jets that push you to the other side, but only does like 2-3 meters, so unless you fall like on your butt, then probably only like slight injuries. And the other happening spaces just open and close the gates, and there's also a robot that you can pay, like a vending machine I guess. Bowser doesn't really do much, he just kind of scams you.
and the loser of this board kind of just gets tortured by Bowser by being shot on steam jets. So that probably could hurt, but I don't see anyone dying on that unless they land on their neck. So we're gonna give this board a survivable with some damages. But now to our next board. Mario's Rainbow Castle is another complicated board because it's either instant death if we're gonna assume the clouds are like our clouds, or we're gonna be able to play it if we do the same thing we did for Peach's birthday cake. But besides the technicalities of clouds, the happening spaces on this board don't really do much. They just change the order of who steals or gives you a star. But speaking of stars, whenever you buy or lose a star, you fall and Lakitu catches you. So he's somehow gonna have to catch you without ripping your clothes and making you fall, or without digging deep into your skin causing irreversible damage. So, and also if you lose this board, the last place player tries to climb up a rainbow, falls, and Lakitu catches him. So we're gonna give this board either instant death, or we're gonna give this board a chance of death. Our second last board is Bowser's Magma Mountain is another board that you're almost certainly to die on. If not for the falling meteors if you land on a happening space, it's the fact that you're in a narrow mountain surrounded by lava in a volcano. You're just gonna be dead. You're probably gonna be dead within 10 turns due to meteorites falling. And surprisingly, at the end, no one dies, not even the loser, because y'all just kind of clobber Bowser to death and the winner just stands on his corpse. So this board is death. You're not gonna live. But now finally, onto our last board. Eternal Star is the last board, and it's an instant death. It's in space, you're gonna die of the cold or lack of oxygen. But if you somehow manage to play, then the happening spaces don't really do much. They just teleport you back to start. Getting Bowser, he just teleports you to start while taking some coins off you. And to get the stars, you just have to beat a child in a dice game. And if you lose, then he'll just grab it off you. So it's not really that dangerous, but you're in space, so you're going to be dead within 5 seconds. The ending is y'all just fly off into the galaxy on a big star. So we're going to put this board in insta-death because you're going to be instantly dead. With all boards out of the way, now let's get on to Now that we're done with the boards, now we're going to be moving on to the mini games, the co-pilot of Mario Party. Starting off with Buried Treasure. Buried Treasure, you're just digging around. At most, you're going to survive with minor damages. Next up, Bumper Balls. Bumper Balls is a bit of an interesting scenario because you're bumping into each other, but if one person falls off, you get taken off by squids or bloopers. So we don't really know what's going to happen, but I'm pretty sure most people could fight off a squid, just punch it in the smack it, do whatever under the water. So we're going to put it in a low chance of death. Next minigame, Bombs Away. Someone will definitely die during this. There's bombs flying all over your little island, pushing you, blowing right up next to you. They can even hit you at times, so yeah, someone will definitely die during this game. Shy Guy Says is another bit of an interesting one, because when he cuts your rope, you do float away, but we don't know where. But you do come back because you're going to be playing, so you'll probably survive, so we'll just put this in the low chance of death. Next one up, Slot Cart Derby. You'll definitely survive this one. You're just driving carts around in a little racetrack. This one is 100%. You're gonna live. Dipsy Tourney is the next one up, and you'll definitely survive this one. You're just walking around in a little area, having a shell just slide over the area. This one, you're gonna survive this one as well. Crazy Cutter, you're kind of just hopping around on a jackhammer. You're gonna be fine with this one. Mario Bandstand, I don't know how you would die in this one unless you like choke on the little stick. But even then, I don't know how you would do that, so you're definitely gonna be able to survive playing fucking instruments. Mushroom Mix-Up is next up, and same with the bumper balls. When you fall down into the water, a bunch of little squids will try to fight you. Because they're only like small, most people could probably fend it off by smacking them. You're not fending off like a colossal squid, so we'll just put in the low chance of death here. Music mushrooms. This is just musical chairs. I don't know how you would die here. Balloon burst. Just pump away your balloon. Now, yes, once you finish the game, your balloon pops to signify you're the winner, and everyone does fall down, but that's most likely just due because it was a very loud bang, so you'll survive this one. Hammer drop is going to go into the low chance of death tier, because money is being thrown around, like you're a stripper, but also hammers are falling down, so if one of them hits you in the head, you're going to have a pretty good chance of dying. Keep away. Besides the little gremlins that are trying to get the key off you, they don't really attack you. I mean, if you bash into them, you kind of just like look at each other, so you'll most likely survive this one. Castaways. You're just fishing for money. You're just reeling in that reel. Literally no chance of death here. Skateboard scamper. You have a high as shit chance of dying here. Basically, if you can skateboard and flip jump, you're gonna be dead, because if you don't manage to jump over the swamps, which are like as tall as you, you're gonna fall into lava, so you have a very high chance of dying in this one. Running of the bulb. I don't have a clue. They're ghosts. I don't know if they kill you, if they possess you, if they make you listen to Nickelback for 13 hours straight, so we'll just put this in its own tier. I don't know. Facelift. You're playing with a face. It's like Play-Doh or something, so you'll definitely survive this one. You're just moving around a face. Hot bomb. Someone is definitely dying here. Like, you're literally throwing on a bomb, and the person who loses gets blown up with a bomb in their face. It's like catch the grenade in old Call of Duty lobbies, except you're gonna die, like in the COD lobbies. Box Mountain Mayhem. You're breaking boxes. This is pretty easy to live in, unless you like strangle yourself in cardboard or something. Grab bag. You will definitely survive this one. You're kind of just pulling stuff out of each other's bags, so you'll definitely survive this one. Hot rope jump. A bit weird to say, but I will say that you will most likely survive with only slight damages, because it is going pretty fast, so it'll most likely just singe your clothes, so that's why I say that you'll survive just with some damages. Down to the 2v2 minigames, starting off with Desert Dash. You have a pretty high chance of dying here because while you're moving along, there's a thwomp in the middle of your path, and if you go on him at the wrong time, he will squish you to death. Though it could be argued that it could be a low chance of death, I'll just stick it in the high chance of death for now. Handcar Havoc. You have a pretty high chance of dying here because you're just pushing along a handcar above a pit of lava, and if you fall off, you're dead. So there's a pretty high chance of dying here unless you're like pretty good at handcarring or just very patient. Bobsled Run. A pretty alright minigame. There is a few places where you could fall off, but that's only like 2, and if you just stick to the corners or walls, you'll be fine. So you have a pretty low chance of dying here. Bombskip-Ball. Besides its weird physics, because you're able to get a metal ball bouncing and it will only blow up when it hits the Bowser face. If that would be in real life and it would only activate after hitting the Bowser face, then you'll most likely survive with just minor damages if you throw it in at a pretty good angle and a fair distance away. Deep sea divers. You probably have a pretty low chance of death because you are just having to pick up chests, although your partner's reeling you in. But, I mean, you could just sit on the top if you really wanted to, but if you're going to be playing it, you have a pretty low chance of death because you have a pretty low chance to drown. Now that we're done with the 2v2 minigames, we're on to the 1v3 minigames. Starting off with Coin Shower Flower. You have a very low chance of dying here because you're just on the 3 players are just under the leaves, just swimming along, picking up money, while the one on top is just running around a pretty big flower collecting money. So just assume that's structurally stable to support the way of an adult.
of the person who's just running around up there collecting money. You have a low chance. You're gonna survive this one. Bashing cash. You have a pretty high chance of dying here because the one person is getting chased by 3 people with hammers. So the one person has a pretty high chance of dying because the 3 will just bash them with hammers. Tightrope treachery. You have a pretty high chance of dying here also because 3 people are shooting cannonballs at the person walking a tightrope. That is just a recipe for disaster for the one player. A high chance of death here. Bowl over. Depending how this game works, you'll survive either way because someone's just bowling a shell towards you. So at most you'll just get like an ouch, but you'll definitely survive this one. Paddle battle. Someone has a very high chance of dying here because you're paddling. There will be shy guys trying to stab you. So good luck. Someone is most likely gonna die here because a shy guy is gonna stab them to death. Coin block bash. There's either a low or high chance of dying here, or just a survive chance, depending on what mood the person with the hammer is. If he just goes around bashing people over the head with it, yeah, someone's definitely gonna die. But if he just like uses it to break the blocks to get money, there's gonna be a survive. So depending on who has the hammer, there's a pretty good chance either someone dies or everyone lives. Pipe maze. You'll definitely survive this one. Someone's just picking for a box to go down a specific pipe, so it goes down a specific path. You'll definitely survive this one. Tug of war. Someone's definitely dying here if you're playing it normally, because either the one person falls in and gets eaten to death by the big ass plant, or the 3 people fall in and get eaten by the big ass plant. So yeah, someone is definitely dying. Piranha's pursuit. You're being chased by a piranha plant and you have to try to out skateboard it while the 3 people are giving it water so it runs faster. So as long as you can out skateboard it, you'll live, but the plant is also berating towards you, so you have a pretty high chance of death, or at least severe injuries. Crane game. Assumptions have to be made. Depending on how deep the pipe is, you'll survive either way, but it will either be with damages or you'll just be fine depending on how deep the pipe is. But seeing how we don't see an end to the pipe, we just assume that you're gonna survive with some damages. And lastly for this video, onto the 1-player mini games. First of all, knock block tower. You have a pretty low chance of death here unless you kick the swamp, which will send you flying into the abyss. You're gonna have a pretty low chance of dying here. Shell game. You just pick the correct turtle that has the money in it, so it's pretty easy to live this one unless you like decide to hop off the edge, but you'll live this one. Ghost guest and pedal power, because if you lose, the ghosts just do something to you. We're just gonna put them in the I don't know tier because I don't know what the ghosts do. Limbo dance. Besides sucking ass to play, it's just limbo. You're gonna survive this one. You're gonna get a slight injury maybe, but you'll definitely live. Ground pound. You're just smashing them pegs into the floor. This one is pretty easy, especially because it's only hard because it's from top person. If you're playing it by yourself with a first person view, this one is easy as hell to live, or even not sustain injury. Memory match. You're just flipping up tiles to match things. You're gonna survive this one. I don't know how you die here either way. Whack-a-plant. You're just stomping on a bunch of plants. You're gonna survive this one as well. You're just beating in a bunch of plants, just caving their plant heads in. Teetering towers. This one you have a very high chance to die because you have to jump off shaky platforms onto other shaky platforms. You're gonna have a pretty high chance to die here. And the final minigame, slot machines. I don't think playing slots has ever physically killed a man. I mean, it's probably killed them by making them go bankrupt, but seeing how you're not gambling for anything, you're definitely gonna survive. With that, the minigame tier list is done. You can have a look at it. You can see which ones you'll die in and which ones you live in. So, yeah.
that's about it for this video. If you made it this far, I would ask you to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.